It's the end of August 2024. We're just a couple of months away from a momentous election here in the United States. Donald Trump or Joe Biden? Oh wait, no. Selected but not elected, Kamala Harris. Forgot about that. Yeah, people are making their decision in this country about whether they should vote based on the fact that they won't vote for Donald Trump. Well, let me put this in perspective for folks. What policies does Kamala Harris stand for? Abortion up until the moment of birth. $2 trillion in federal deficit spending in a single year. Driving up interest rates and sucking credit out of the markets for entrepreneurs, home buyers, car buyers, students trying to go to university. Confiscation of wealth. Taxing unrealized capital gains. If anybody thinks that's a good idea because you're not rich, you don't have mutual funds, or you don't have stocks, then you really don't understand basic economics. Doubling the tax rate on dividends, capital gains, unbelievable. This country in the year 2000 had a $1.8 trillion federal budget. In 2025, the budget proposed by the Biden-Harris regime is $2 trillion in deficit. We now spend more money on the federal deficit, interest payments alone, than we do in national defense. This is criminal. This is absolutely criminal. And this has happened on our watch. As people were comfortable, happy, content, many of them. We've had an opioid crisis. We've had a border invasion, tens of millions of criminal alien invaders flooding into our country. We've had a deficit spending crisis that's going on for over 40 years now, bankrupting our nation. This is absolute insanity. And people are going to make their decision in this election because they don't like Donald Trump. They don't like mean tweets. Well, divorce yourself from Donald Trump and from Kamala Harris. Take both of those faces out of the equation. Look at the policies and look at what happened under the 4 years of Donald Trump, which, by the way, he's already been proven. He's a candidate. He's already served as president. He won't suspend democracy. He won't sign a ban on abortion. It's illegal. The executive doesn't have that branch or that power. That will be tossed out by the Supreme Court because, as we know, the 10th Amendment expressly prohibits that power to the federal government. And for over 50 years, millions of children were murdered in the womb because that was allowed by an activist court. That has been set right now. The Supreme Court is getting some things right and fixing the Constitution. People adhering to it now instead of acting lawlessly. But divorce yourself from Kamala Harris. Divorce yourself from Donald Trump. And look at the policies. Donald Trump ended the war against ISIS. It was, of course, Barack Obama and Joe Biden's failure. He ended the war in Afghanistan. For 18 months, not a single casualty in Afghanistan. Not a combat casualty for the U.S. because we weren't involved in combat. But Joe Biden, of course, and Harris lied about that. He ended the war in Syria. There was no conflict with North Korea. There was no Gaza conflict. The Abraham Accords. Historic peace agreements reached by that administration. You don't like Trump? Fine, get over yourself. Interest rates, unbelievably low. And don't listen to the excuse, oh, they were just low because of COVID and nobody was working. That's horse manure. And also don't listen to nonsense, well, Donald Trump lost millions of jobs. He didn't lose any jobs. The collusion between the federal government, its bureaucracy, politicians, and the Trump administration, as well as state governments, destroyed our economy. We're lucky to survive the whole thing. But divorce yourself from all the nonsense and look at the accomplishments. Historic peace, economic growth, prosperity, nearly $9,000 in net family worth increase in the first 3 years of Trump's administration before the COVID scam. It's unbelievable what was accomplished during Trump's time. And what we've lost, global peace, prosperity, our dollar eviscerated by inflation. And why is inflation so high? It's not just Joe Biden's war on energy and Harris's war on energy and their incompetence in geopolitics. It's also they're sucking trillions of dollars out of the economy. $2 trillion deficit. We now spend more on the interest on our national debt than we do on national defense. Over $1 trillion a year on interest payments. And that's the fault of Democrats. That's the fault of Republicans. That's the fault of Trump. That's the fault of Biden. But it has never been as bad as it is now. $2 trillion in deficit spending in a single year. Sucking $2 trillion out of the economy that you could have borrowed money to start a business, to buy a home, to finance a car. It's not there. It's gone. So get over the mean tweets. Stop whining about, well, she's not Trump. Because there's nothing to this fabricated fantasy campaign of Kamala Harris. No policy, no substance, nothing but smoke and mirrors. You don't like mean tweets? Well, the world was a lot safer, far more prosperous, and economic inequality was nowhere near the level it's reached now. So, in November, on the 5th, go pull that ballot. Don't do it for Kamala, or stay home. Your choice. Make the right decision. God bless.